Good evening and welcome to Cooking Index to Appendix. Tonight we're on recipe number 4, the darkest secret wings. So tonight's recipe is a little bit of a focus on beer. If you've cooked a lot with beer, you'll know that you can make some really great marinades, be it for chicken, be it for lamb, be it for ribs. You can also do some really good stews, and tonight we're just going to do a really basic but really flavorful beer recipe that uses a really dark beer. So before we go down to the ingredients, and for your winging pleasure, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the stove and get those wings just browning a little bit first. So while those brown away, I can bring you down to the ingredients. So I've got two different plates here, and that's basically the two different stages we're going to cook in. So on the left hand side here, I've got some diced onion, some diced shallots, and some diced leek stem. We've also got some crushed caraway seeds. You can use a pot or a grinder, whichever you have at home. On the right hand side, we've got the final ingredients, which sort of goes at the end when we start our simmering process. We've got some brown sugar, we've got some ground thyme, we've got some garlic powder, and we've got some onion powder. Then basically the key ingredient to the whole dish is going to be this dark beer, this stout. I've chosen the darkest available. I don't normally cook with stout, so we're going to see what happens. And then we've got some butter, which is going to thicken and enrich everything up right at the end. So if we come over here now, as I mentioned earlier, what I've done is I've pre-warmed up these wings and I've browned them a bit. So what we're going to do is we're just going to let this pot come to heat. And what you'll notice is they're nice and brown, and you'll start to hear that sizzle. Now, when that sizzle really starts to kick in, we're going to start the caramelization process. And as you know, a caramelization process is basically taking your vegetables and allowing them to cook at a really lowish temperature so that all of the sugars in the dish can come out. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to burn the ingredients, so you need to make sure you've got the right temperature. Quite high at the moment, but I will drop that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add these leeks. Probably like the pan to be a little bit warmer, but that's not a problem. You can start to feel that heat coming through nicely now. We're going to add the onions as well. So you can see, you probably think I'm pretty clever now because I've separated the dishes, so I don't have to worry about messing around with the different herbs. Little technique I learned in chicken wing organizational school. So there's that sizzle, that's what we like. So we've got all the ingredients from that first plate coming through. What I'm going to do is grab a spoon. We're just going to mix that all in. So this is all really going to cook for about 1 or 2 minutes, not really anything longer. And that's mainly because everything's diced really, really finely. You can see those colors coming through. You can start to smell it already as well. So I'm going to leave that just to sit for a couple of minutes. Now, as I said, the most important thing here is to make sure nothing burns. So keep an eye on it, keep stirring it, and I'm going to see you in about 2 or 3 minutes. So welcome back. These have been cooking for about 2.5 minutes or so. So in about 30 seconds, we're going to chuck in the beer, chuck in the rest of the spices, really give them a nice little mix, bring it to a boil, and then we're going to let it simmer for about 20 minutes. I'm going to check it every now and then in the 20 minutes just to make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom and it's not boiling over, etc. But if I can just bring you down here quick, we're going to have a nice look here. You can see how we've caramelized these beautifully. The onions have started to go brown, the wings are nicely coated, and everything's looking really gorgeous. So I'm going to give it one more big stir. Just get everything around. Again, those flavors are just beautiful. So we're going to take the rest of our spices. Now, the sugar, some of you might be surprised cooking with a lot of sugar, but using such a dark beer, this is really going to help to bring out some of the sweetness. So I'm just going to go chuck that all in there. Don't be afraid to use your hands. I mean, you're eating the wings with your hands, everything's going to cook off. It's just going to be beautiful, so get involved. You know, cooking's supposed to be fun. So again, let's give that a nice big stir. Oh, that's really coming together. So I'm going to drop that heat just a little bit. Got that beer. Now I'm tasting the beer you're going to use. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at the bubbly fun that looks like. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir, make sure everything's coated. Bring it to a slight boil. And the next time you see me, we're going to be taking these wings out, thickening the sauce and getting ready for a little bit of winging. Sit back, relax, watch a bit of telly, see you in a bit. Welcome back. So these little bad boys have been in here for about 20 minutes now. You can see the juice has reduced quite a bit. The wings are completely cooked through and we've got a beautiful rich flavor. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to start removing these wings, and then once we have them all out, we're just going to add a little bit of butter. That butter's effectively just going to help us richen this whole dish up. It's really just going to add that last little kick. Once that's done, we're going to drizzle these beautiful, beautiful wings in this beautiful rich sauce. Now I've cheated a little bit and I've tasted it and it is already phenomenal. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like once that butter's in there, or once this is thickened up. I'm really starting to drool a little bit actually. So look here, this is all beautiful, nice and thick, everything's nice and soft. I mean, that's gorgeous. That's really beautiful. So taking the butter, I'm just going to put that in there. I'm going to bring it to heat. That's going to start to melt, and then we're just going to cook that through. Probably take about 2 minutes, maybe 3 at the most. And then when we see you next, we're going to be standing at the dinner table. We're going to be eating some kick-ass chicken wings. And here we are, the moment of truth. So we've got this beautiful dish. I've been told by my camera person that it's not necessarily the most beautiful thing to look at, but I can assure you it is going to be wingtastic. So without further ado, I'm going to get stuck in here. Let's just see what we can do. They're quite slippery, so I'm going to have to go for a two-hand approach. And I'm going to go for your typical bone splitter, as I like to call it. There we go, just break that bad boy. That is wing-gasmic. Basically an orgasm in my mouth created by a chicken wing. So without further ado, I'm going to get stuck in and go crazy. See you next week.